All right, guys. So I'm live streaming right now on YouTube. If you want to just jump on that really quick, just go to my YouTube page and you should be able to see my chart. If somebody can go there and can confirm, and then let's see here. Okay, thank you. Melissa, are you using the suppressor on your mic? There is on Discord, there is this little noise suppression that you should have access to. Here, let me show you really quick. Yeah, it's right where it says voice connected. See if you're using that because I get a lot of background noise on your mic, and I'm just trying to see if you're using that. It kind of helps with the suppression there. And by the way, guys, so really quick, so like I said, we're going to be patient on this open. You can see here if you're shorting the PMZ, that's working great. Your risk is 9 points. So obviously, a lot of people in here, I would be looking at micros. Um, and let's go to a 4 hour. We're close to some of the support. We'll see if this 40 11 holds here. Really, from this inside and up formation, if we take some fibs from the inside and up and come up to the pivot high, you see we're holding the 38.2. So we're just going to, again, we're using the ES futures to kind of dictate, where I want to be far as in my portfolio. So right now it tells me a little bit of caution on the gap up. But again, we're holding the bullish channel. On the Baba trade, I ended up closing completely out. That was a really nice gain over there on those. I got stopped, and those went up 200+% this morning. It looks like you guys did really good on Amazon as well. Yeah, so really, Austin, if they listen to me, then they know what's going on. If you're just looking at YouTube, then it's a little delayed there. Let's see, LRCX entered into 1125, 450 put at 2 someone just over 99. Gotcha. All right, so NVIDIA, let's see, maybe, just maybe, it came down into a little bit of support down here, Melissa. That big chaotic candle we had this morning literally kind of came down into that inside and up and buy signal there on Thinkorswim pre-market. So I'm kind of interested to see if it can move here. A lot of top and wicks though, like on the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 minutes. And you said they report in the morning, right? So, and I need to make sure that I'm not live at Simpler this morning. Give me 1 second. I am not. Okay, cool. All right, so a lot of patience this morning. A lot of patience. So just kind of hang out. Don't get too excited. It's not time for that yet. All right, I'm gonna come over here and look at my scanners. So let's pull that out really quick. All right, inside PMZ, we have Meta, Futu, Tesla, Pins, and Shop. Let's take a look at Shop really quick. Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. Go short. Got it. Yeah, and I'm seeing that on the scanner on the Trendy Edge scanner over here on the right hand side. It says up here weekly upper edge, I think as well. Nvidia is starting to go bid. So with these equity trades, guys, I get in and out really quick. Okay, and then I try to hold runners, but basically I entered some NVIDIA, just a starter, see if we can break back through 170.15. I got in at 168.34. Basically, what I'll end up doing is I typically trim around 25 cents, 50 cents, and so forth. So they're really quick. And then what I'll do is trim while we're moving up through the PMZ, and then I'll add back when we break above the pivot, 170.15. Baba's or Amazon's looking pretty good. AMD's looking pretty good. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, cool. Love you. All right, guys. So keep trimming NVIDIA here. So we're up about a buck in the money. And if you want, what you could do from here is I want to see if we can get above 170. I said 15 earlier. Let's just make it the, yeah, around 170.15. And then I'll execute there. And then I will pull my stops up really fast. Basically, what I'm looking for, if you will, is something like this. I take the trade, right? The PMZ's right here. I'm looking for the move into the PMZ. Okay. And then we have pre-market stuff over here and the pivot highs right here. So I want to see that we could break over this. So what we've been doing is trimming all the way up. Okay. Like this, trim. And then I'll execute here and then I'll take that original stop and then I'll move it up really quickly to right underneath. And what I'm looking for is momentum, and I don't care if I get stopped really quick. Sometimes these work really nice, sometimes they don't do anything. Okay. But to be safe, you can also put your stops at the money now. It's funny that I figured that out. Yeah, Tesla, I mean, all the way back up to 200, guys. I think what's happening there, Melissa, is Tesla might be headed back to the lower YE. And let's see, this shop, I see that it's starting to move a little bit, but still hasn't taken out the pivot high or the. All right, so Nvidia just now starting to peek its head over the PMZ so you guys can see this. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm over here on my other screens. This is what that looks like, okay? So I actually got in a tad bit late. Give me 1 second. Got in a tad bit late, and what kind of deterred me from taking this trade too soon was all of these top and wicks, but also looking at the market and the momentum of the ES futures and trying to stay on the same side. So ES futures, when we come over here, we're holding, you know, you can see that. And if we measure from this move up this morning, give me 1 second here. Right here from this move up, we just kind of bounced off of Fibonacci. We're back above the bullish channel here. So see if ES can actually break over the PMZ. Be careful today, especially. You can see that my automated target happens to be right around supply, and the PMZ top happens to be right around supply. So you could easily try to go long here, and it gets squashed right away. The better area is actually buying the dip this morning, kind of like Nvidia. So Apple at 153. Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah, market's relentless right now. Like I said on the bigger picture, that 200 just looks like a target right here. And as long as that's target, um, and by the way, yesterday I was talking about this candle on the close. It did end up closing inside by the time the maintenance period was over. So kind of nice. And then we went inside and up this morning. So we're getting up there towards the pivot of Nvidia. That's why we're being careful, and I've trimmed most of everything. So I may actually end up just starting the trade over. Um, we'll keep runners on here, but for right now, I think that the stop should be for me is going to be just above entry. So we got in at 168.34, and so I'm going to bring that stop up now. So you can't lose any money there. Let's go. Meta is also in the PMZ. Let's go over here really quick and take a look at that. There it is there. Come on, man. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing some weekly scans not now, guys. So again, these help me find supply and demand. So I'm just gonna double click here, and this is going to what I'm looking for is lower edges on the yearly. Okay, so I'm gonna click on Futu here. I'm gonna go to a higher time frame, and what I'm looking for is some swings because I'm primarily out of some serious swings and. Which reminds me, how's that Oracle doing this morning? They doing okay? Let's see. Yeah, up $1.24, not bad. Cool. Okay, so Futu is coming to the bottom of the supply zone. Okay, so this is resistance for right now. We actually have a little bit of inside and down. Um, we have a zone over here. So this is resistance. And this is extended so far, but I like it as long as it's above the cloud. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to get in the way of it right now, just because the overall market is fairly strong. I would like to take a look at Baidu. And we found China names in the beginning of the week, and recognized the strength there, and that's the reason why Babo is such a hot name there. And I was kind of debating between Baba and Baidu. Issue with Baidu is we're coming up right underneath the cloud here, which isn't an issue, I should say. It's not a bad thing. But you can see there's resistance here. It would be nice for some of these China names to kind of come inside for a week, and then we go inside and up, and then we attack these supply zones up here towards 116. Now, Baidu has earnings coming up on the 22nd. So again, it feels like we're pushing into resistance, and then we're going to digest before the earnings. Um, just kind of coming in, like I said, we're coming into edges, we're coming into the cloud, we're coming into selling pressure, but we're also coming into earnings. So when I see that type of stuff, I have to ask myself, is the risk to reward, does it make sense from a trading perspective? Every time before we take a trade, do we want to actually, you know, do we want to get short? And that's what I was trying to say. I notice a lot of people are trying to go short, right, into this move up, and it's earning season. And anyone that's been with me for a long time knows that I say this almost every quarter, right? They give you a catalyst or they give you a look that looks like it's shortable, but then really the macro, people are looking to see what the guidance is. They want to see numbers. So typically the pullback is very limited. And so it's just not worth it from a risk to reward standpoint, in my opinion. All right. I'd much rather, instead of getting short, sell call credit spreads or wait until the market pulls back into a demand zone and then go long, right? So, for example, here on Baidu, because they're reporting soon, I'd much rather find, a level around like 96 to 94 to get long when it comes back to digest. Okay. Looking at some, just kind of scanning through some names here, see if there's anything that I want to do. All right, we're inside and up on Shack. Now, if I recall, Shack, the options are a bit strange, but I like the look at this. We are in the cloud, which makes it a little choppy, okay? But I like the look of it. It's trying to digest in this channel, okay, right here. Came low on the curve, it found support, and again, inside and up. And so my first targets would be at the top of that channel and then a break of that channel. So we'd use the trendy edges. I'm going to do 55.16, and then I'm going to come up to the left. I'm going to find a zone, and that's going to be about right there. So 55 by 60s. Now, what's interesting about their options, they fall in that category where you either need to buy this week or 31 days, and that's the only frustrating thing about this particular trade. Um, their earnings is not till February, and let's see here. The volume is non-existent on options right now. I think that's the case though with them typically. So I almost would rather buy shares and look for a rally. All right, we're out of Nvidia, just a few pennies above entry there. So that was a fast, good trade. It couldn't get over the PMZ, so that's why we didn't want to be in it. We brought those stops up, and it worked. And let's see here. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to maybe do a spread here? Mhm. Remember, it's going to be a little volatile, so maybe smaller with wider stops today, guys. Let's go down here and check the neutral strat just really quick. See how we're doing there. Still inside, still holding the levels we talked about this morning. So 402 being resistance, 292.34 on QQQ being support. Let's take a look at CMG. Remember, next week we have holiday week, so if you're buying options and you're buying next week, you're kind of getting gypped, okay? So I prefer, like I said in the broad market analysis, to buy a little bit of time here if you're thinking about a swing. Let's look at Futu really quick. It's up about 6% this morning. Looks like it could be in a range though. And Futu options are expensive, but they're in $5 increments. So, and I don't like the spread there either. So this would be more of an equity candidate. I'm not going to mess with it. Let's go over to Meta. Notice that ES futures are holding those levels. So again, market just kind of digesting this morning's move, okay? That AMD popped right out of the PMZ there, talking about Murphy's Law. That's what I was talking about, Melissa. We were talking about their I was thinking as soon as you said that, I was like, the PMZ, I mean, it's like, you execute it, who knows what's going to happen, but um as soon as we start trying to put like, and it's okay because I do it all the time, but as soon as we start to try to put some thought behind it, Murphy's Law, it's like boom, right? I mean, look at it. It'll literally push right up into our targets up there. It's incredible. I mean, not like huge moves or anything. I mean, but yeah, it's almost $2. Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Murphy never takes a day off. Um, let's see. It does, but I'm trying not to put. I mean, the inside candle makes sense from a digest period. I mean, 402.41 was, resistance, so I feel like the better place to go short was up there instead of right here. That's just me. And see, our BA is up about 20%, guys, and our XLE is down about 23%. Both, well, one, we sold credit on BA, so we're looking for price to go down. And then XLE, we have a pretty wide butterfly on it, so it's still early in the week. So Taco Tuesday, baby. ORCL, Oracle, just doing its thing today. And you're still in that, right, Melissa? So remember, you and I did this before. I might have pulled off one of my great stunts again, where remember you were having this as well, like when you first started using TOS. I probably set it, okay, and forgot to hit like enter. So it happens sometimes, right? So when you go into the monitor tab and you put in a stop, I might have forgot to put it on STP. There's a great chance of that I put the number in, right? I got in at 265. So I put my stop at 265, but I didn't actually hit stop. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So what happened was I actually executed a close order and it gave me the fill of 285 because 285 made no sense unless I actually put 285 instead of 265. There is a you know what I'm saying? I know no matter what happens that Thinkorswim would say it's my fault. So I'm just going to chalk it up as that. But it really did, it was irritating because I had to send that alert out as simpler. And I'm like, what the F, man? You know, I mean, the chart's beautiful. Yeah, I do. Do as I say, not as I do. That is like the famous saying there. Yes, I'm looking here how many people are in the stream. Now it's not telling me the numbers. Before it was. Now it's not saying any. Okay, it's saying 52. Yeah, I think our action, folks, unless this candle continues to make a pivot high, you know, sorry, if it actually makes a new pivot high, I think we stay inside, and the real action is maybe towards the end of the day here. Think about it. So you need your 4 hour candle to close on the SPY and the Qs. And then if we go inside and up, we can continue this trend. It makes more sense. You got to understand how EMAs work. It makes more sense for the longer we kind of dip and go sideways, these catch up. You see what I'm saying? So when these catch up and you get that support and then you go inside and up, that's when you get the rip. Okay. So you just got to understand what the candles are doing, understand what the EMAs are doing right now, and we just kind of stay patient here. All right, I'm gonna try some AMC over the PMZ, and I went in the money here. This is what the trade looks like. We'll have to get past some of these lines first. So I went with the 7 calls. Okay, we need to get over this. The 8. I'm looking for 815 8:30, 8:44, somewhere in here. Okay, so about right there. But we need to get over that line first. Okay, so maybe a little bit of digestion here. Where's Dave today? Resistion. Winning. All right, guys, I'm gonna heat up my coffee. I'll be right back. Market's just kind of digesting this morning's move. Let's go ahead and turn the. All right, guys, here's ES Futures. I'm gonna leave it on here, take a little break, heat up some coffee, and I'll be back here shortly. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead and check back in just really quick. So, not much happening. What I'm noticing is, as I said before, future traders pushing us up basically into resistance and then leaving, for the most part, retail traders kind of trying to trade a really tight range. And what that ends up doing is costing you on the day. So we're taking it really light today. I noticed that Melissa got stopped on one of her positions, but you guys also killed it in Amazon. So that was great. Baba holders, we killed it there as well. But as far as intraday trading, I'm trying to take it light. My AMC trade, so I took NVIDIA, made some money there. AMC, I'll probably leave a 35 to 40% stop on it right now. Maybe less. We'll see. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to kind of shake out. It is in the money. It just needs to stay, where it is, and just kind of digest for a little bit. It is only Tuesday. So like I said, I'll give it a little bit of room. If for some reason ES futures start to really pull back or die here, then maybe I'll be more aggressive of being stopped out. Okay. As far as ES futures are concerned, we did break down below the PMZ. So if you guys are taking a short out of that, then you're getting paid on that trade itself. Okay. So you can see here again, said this morning, PMZ is resistance until proven otherwise. Plenty of opportunities to go short here. The question is right now on a smaller time frame, this 5 minute zone, will this hold? We could definitely dip right in here. There's a quant pivot there as well. And then find another push up. But overall, when you look at this, lower highs, we have lower lows here. We are in a downtrend in an up range. Okay. And as I say that, it starts to get a little bit more aggressive here as it looks like it wants to kind of get in. BA is up about 21%. XLE, I bought back the body of the butterfly. We'll see what that wants to do. And we're pretty light, pretty light. The small account or my private account yesterday took a nice little hit in it, but got all that back today from Baba, which was nice to see. So just kind of flat sitting in there, but it's all good. And so the idea here is maybe XLE starts to bid as the market pulls back. It's just that correlation that I see. And let's go over here just really fast and look at the dollar. Let's see what's going on here. So the dollar's starting to bid a little bit, but we want to be looking at a bigger picture. There we go. Remember, we talked about this in the broad market analysis. This is about where you would see the market kind of start to potentially pull back as it's doing right now, because the dollar is coming into the monthly cloud where it's finding a bid. So this kind of makes sense right now. All right. So I would like to fill BA if it can continue down. I'd like to fill it, around 75 cents, 70 cents, somewhere in there. Melissa, let me see what I have. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to see what model. I got it at Best Buy, but it doesn't say on here, and I don't have the box. I know, but what I do know is it says on the side, LOGI. I think it's Logitech, right? And then I want to say I paid somewhere between like 80 and $100, somewhere in there. Gotcha. And this one, like halfway down, has like some things I can mess around with, to turn it down, to turn it up, or to turn your volume up, sorry. And say something right now, if you don't mind. Okay. I'm just checking my volume. So, so on the dollar, folks, when we come over and take a look at this, we want to measure. Um, we can measure just this candle if we want to. And although the market might be kind of pulling back a little bit, I mentioned this in the broad market analysis. As long as the dollar is staying below the 38.2, I think the market actually is just digesting this bigger move, and the dollar will stay in the bearish channel and come back down here to 103 soon, if it does not break over this 38.2. So I'm gonna put an alert here. I would imagine if we get that alert, that means the market's even flushing more. So we are inside and down though on the monthly, um, on the dollar. So, and TNX still inside as well. Let's see. I had to close out my iPhone today because it keeps telling me that like my email is full, and I upgraded, right? So I paid a couple extra dollars for more storage, but it's not doing anything. Like when I look at it, it's been doing this for a week saying that it's trying to download. I don't know if it's just a not worth it or what, but I definitely at some point should probably go through my emails and delete old ones. But I don't know. The whole upgrade thing doesn't work for me. I don't understand. So like, what is that, Melissa? Like in the background, so I can hear that. Is that like just tapping, or I'm trying to think like fart, really? Yeah, I can hear all kinds of stuff. Like your microphone is picking up. I mean, it is really sensitive. So I don't know. That's why I thought maybe you had a desk mic, because those are horrible. Um, and did you send me a picture? you said? Did you send it to me? I didn't get anything in here. Oh, gotcha. Here they come. Sorry, my phone was off. I got it. This is the one you have right now? Oh, okay, gotcha. I've been through so many different sets of headphones over the years. You guys should see like on one of my desk over here, I have so many. Every time I try, um, what I come back to is Logitech is actually the best brand that I found. But desk mics don't work great. Um, I have an eraser one, which is like a gamer one. That one's pretty cool. Some of them change your voice quite a bit. Some of them pick up a lot of background noise. You could also take the model that you have right now and look up on YouTube. You just put the model number in and say, is there any way to suppress background noise? That's what the Discord is supposed to do. So if you go into your audio settings underneath your mic, there should be like different, yeah, it just must be a really sensitive microphone, like really sensitive. Because you guys can't hear when I click my mouse or anything, can you? So I'm clicking it right now. Can you? Yeah. Mm-mm. It's on your desk. It's your mouse when it slides across it. It's I could just tell. You can kind of hear everything in the background. It's just some mics are like that. Yes, we heard that earlier. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Man, it sure does feel like the ES just wants to come down and fill the gap, but it's kind of hard at this point. I'm like, what do I want to do here? See, oil is getting a bid. I bet XLE is starting to get a bid. Let's see. Yeah, it's starting to get a bid. And this is kind of what I expect. You know, when the dollar starts to bid, you start to see energy bid, start to see the market kind of pull back a little bit. I just don't want to make any crazy moves, though. I just don't feel like it's. What else do we have going on today, guys? Like, is there any other data coming out or something like that? It just feels like, I don't know. It feels just PPI. Mm-hmm. Hmm. All these different catalysts, but the overall trend is in play. It's always interesting. Right. Exactly. Let's see. Let's look at HD. Man, their 292 puts are still 33 cents. I'm actually surprised. Um, Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that alone till the end of the week. Oh yeah, yeah. I was looking at Costco the other day, and I was just like, man, it looked beautiful on the. Let me see the weekly. Yeah, that weekly inside and up. Yeah, 531 to 541. Looking at that over the weekend, and of course, looks great. What I try to remember is when we're looking at all this stuff, for the most part, a lot of these things are not moving a whole lot since open. So I try not to get any FOMO. Baidu is definitely moving up towards the edge in the cloud that we talked about. But there's a lot of these. I saw a couple comments around, not necessarily in here, but of people feeling a little bit of FOMO today. But a lot of these, when they opened up, haven't done a whole lot. Like, I mean, look at AMD. It did out of the PMZ, came back to the PMZ. Looks like a head and shoulders on a 5 minute chart. Baba, is definitely keeping. China names are keeping the strength here. Apple keeping up, you know. hmm Google's interesting to me because it's still under $100. And I know it's just like a psychological level for me, but makes me feel like this thing is, I mean, look at that beautiful 4 hour as well. Little extended though. I'd prefer it to come back a little. But look at the daily. Red to white, getting above the monthly mid and the cloud. Could take this and keep my stop at $1 for today. Let's see, 56 points on the ES. SMH. Weekly is showing inside and up, but daily is showing it could be starting to tap out at the 200. I see that as well. And there's a trendy edge there. Mm, I think I have supply up at 235. Yeah, there's no answer to be honest with you. At this point, it's, you sit still, wait to see if we build value above these levels, or you sell some call credit spread short term. And if you're wrong, you buy back the short side and go long here. Just answering the question. Also on the TTM squeeze, I mean, you have how many trendy blue bars here on SMH on the day? Things do feel a little tapped out a little bit, but you also have Nvidia. So like I personally wouldn't want to do anything involving SMH right here. Not with Nvidia reporting. That's exactly what I did yesterday, guys. I didn't I didn't look at there's a lock key on the stop orders and I didn't have the lock on. Do you guys know what I'm talking about or no? So, let's see here. So this guy right here. So yesterday when I put in my stop, I had it open, okay? And if you're not paying attention, your numbers keep changing to whatever the current price is. So if you just leave it open and then I go to hit and I just quickly hit it, it's going to take, you know, it's going to take me out. Like, so I put a stop in, but I put a stop in for the current order or the current price. So as soon as I hit enter, it went on the exchange and said, hey, he wants a stop right here and now. And boom, it executed. So, because they told me that I put a stop in for 289, and I'm like, 289? Like, why would I ever do that? You know what I mean? So, 289. I'm like, 289 meant nothing to me. I got in at 265, so I knew I messed up. If that makes sense for you guys. Oh my. I really hope something happens. It's only 10:30, folks, and I feel like it's midnight. Like this is ridiculous. Somebody's telling me to do something. I'm going to, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to put on my shorts, put on some socks, and I'm jumping on the Peloton. All right. So I need to get some exercise in. There's no sense of watching this right now. So just like when I go to the dock, maybe this will be a bullish sign for you guys. Okay. I'll be back shortly, probably 45 minutes or so. The cool thing is my Peloton's right here in the office. So I'll be watching charts, trying not to stress while I ride on the bike. And I'll be back with you guys shortly. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead and start and make sure. There we go. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen. So we went ahead and purchased some SPY put lottos. Those were up about 25-30% right before the level of support. This is a really slow trade. And again, it's a zero DTE. Also trimming some AMC, as you guys can see. And we have some other trades in here we took. This is our equity trades. But for right now, what I'm seeing are lower highs on the ES futures, and then I'm seeing, basically a little bit of support while the market's trying to digest the PPI move here, if you will. PPI was just a catalyst, as you all know. The overall market, what I'm looking for was the fact that we created demand on the weekly, and that's what we're trading. So everything that's between here and so here, demand and supply is going to be some sort of catalyst that you know it keeps you from, I guess, staying in your trades, keeps you more on your toes. But when you back up and you look at everything, you can see that the market, the bigger picture, is what is important. Again, I think this is just a background of what the market is all about. It's really there to scare you out of trades, um, keep you from being convicted. And if you can just learn to focus on the bigger picture, this will help you out in the long run. Okay. So let's go over here. Just make sure that you guys can hear me. All right, cool. And we're going to come up here and go into, once again, the trendy alerts there. And we'll keep going through here and look at the daily, see what we have. So you can see we pushed up into our target this morning of 40.33. We couldn't hold above that, but the market, when it's in a bull stance like it is, you expect it to try and hold the highs or retest the highs before the close. If we just measure this daily candle, you can see that it's trying to get above the 38.2, which is really, really important. Right now, it's having a tough time, but just so that everybody understands, I am bullish long term. The put is just in case we get some kind of digestion that wants to pull back to a 30-minute zone. So I went ahead and put that on. All right. But I would expect right now that this 4 hour inside and up is going to hold. And if you think about it, if we do the math, for every 10 points that this drops, will give us about $1 in the SPY. Okay. So what I did was I put on some lottos for the 398 puts. It's currently trading at 7%. Like I said, it was almost up about 30% earlier. And if we drop another $2, that makes sense from a Fibonacci standpoint here. Okay. And let me make sure I have everybody on mute here. There we go. All right. So what does that mean? Where do we need to drop to in order for the 398s to kind of get hit? You can come up here again, measure. You can see current price, another 20 points. We'd have to come down to about the 618, which would make sense. Okay, around that 4,000 level for those puts to pay you something. I mean, if you like 30%, then you already got paid. But for right now, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, a lot of time left in the market. It's only 11:38. Close 3 Central. I'm Central Time here in the part of Florida that I live in. So still have a lot of time. Today was really nice. I jumped on the Peloton. It's been forever. And I sent you guys a video there in main chat so you could see what I was looking at on the 30-minute chart. I was watching the market at my other station or my other desk there, just to kind of give you an idea of what I was looking at. So far, the market, it's pushed, it's pulled, and it's just digesting. So we really don't want to get in the way. At least I don't. It's been a good morning with some of these trades like BABA and so forth. Let's go ahead and actually bring some of these up, and let's go over them and talk about why and what you should be looking for. Um, you know, on these charts that have pulled back so much, and everybody, was looking for zero when really in reality, again, if we just go back and we find these zones, okay, and we put some things together, all those things that I teach you from multiple time frames to understanding how to get in on a PMZ trade, those type of things. Remember what the idea of the process is, okay? So, matter of fact, while we're sitting here, I want to pull out my scratch pad. And I want to write on this while we're sitting here. And let's put today's date. Today is November 15th, 2022. And we can kind of just walk over this together because sometimes, you can get a really good idea what that process should look like, right? So let's do something like this. We'll pull that up. All right. And so the first things first, especially in this market, and really anytime, folks, anytime we get a significant pullback, what should we be doing, right? And I'm gonna put this away here so I can kind of watch main chat here. Oh, okay. Thanks, Melissa. I was wondering. I thought I heard something. That's funny. All right, guys. So again, question on higher time frames when the market is pulling back, what are we looking for? Go to your quarterly chart. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the drawings here. All right, so just like this. This is your quarterly chart on BABA. All right, and I don't put too much emphasis on fundamentals because really, I would put myself up against any fundamental trader. That would be my my flex. Anybody out there who's a fundamental trader, um, I would put myself up against them anytime and go head to head, day to day, because I believe the technicals are the go-to. Because what happens is that you read fundamentals, and again, I was a director for a company where I took care of the business side of 11 different storefronts, okay, or businesses, I should say, not really storefronts, but brick and mortar dental practices. Um, and so, we tracked EBITDA year over year, month over month, those kind of things, and they're all important, okay, especially when we're talking about revenue. But when we're talking about stocks, there's a lot of this stuff that we can actually just pinpoint right on a chart. Okay. So in my mind, I think about Baba. I was actually in the Air Force when Baba IPO'd. And I remember my buddy was like, we got to get in on this. This is the Amazon of China. Let's do our thing. We just kind of said, okay, yeah, let's take it. Right. And it shook some people out. Then it proceeded to push up over the years. And, things were great. Right. Great in Baba land. Well, then surfaces a lot of different news and a different catalyst that come out and it shakes the tree, and I mean shakes the tree big time, meaning it gets rid of what we call weak hands, right? Long-term holders who just cannot bear to be in a position like this, and that's okay. I don't blame you. Okay. So when I see something, a big name, all right, a big beta name who's taking a big hit, and I know that, hey, the company's pretty sound. It's not going to zero. What I want to do is I want to go to a quarterly chart and we want to look for demand zones. So again, one, during this market, right? This is a pullback type of market. All right. So big pullback, and we'll name that PB. All right. For a pullback. Go to your quarterly chart. Go to your quarter chart. All right. All right. Number two, what does that look like? What are you looking for? What am I looking for? What are you guys looking for? Demand, right? Looking for demand zones on higher time frames. Looking for demand. How do we look for demand? You go down and to the left. okay? You go down and to the left. You do not go through candles, folks, okay? You do not go through candles. And I learned this at Online Trading Academy, okay? So you don't go through candles. You go down and to the left. So when I go down and to the left, I see this really beautiful zone here. And again, this stuff's on my YouTube page. You guys can go over there and check that out. 5 to 10 minutes, watch the video, become a professional. Just kidding. But you will be able to identify these zones. So what makes this really attractive on TV or TradingView is that you can save templates. So notice here, and for anybody that's new to TV or TradingView, what you do is over here on the left-hand column, this is going to be a lot of education, guys. I feel like talking. I got off the Peloton. It's been months. I feel pumped. I got some adrenaline going, right? So I'm ready to talk. So you have this over here, and basically, let's say like this rectangle that I use for zones. What you want to do is you scroll down to the rectangle and you make sure that you hit the star. And what that does is it puts it on a tab right here, or a ribbon. Some people call this a ribbon. And basically what I've done is I've aligned my favorites on this ribbon, and you can move it around anywhere you want. Okay, so that's what's going on there. All right, so we're just gonna put this up here for now. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to identify that demand zone. Again, I'm not going to go into specifics, but this is what this looks like. Okay, let's go into settings. We're going to go ahead and hit demand, and look at that beautiful thing. So I've already set this up to where it's green, it says demand, and I also have one just to make it even easier for anybody that's learning inside and up and inside and down. This is also what we call inside and up formation. Okay. The next thing after finding that, what am I looking for? Demand. So sort of inside and up, sorry, IAU formations. Okay. Just like that, inside and up formations. All right, now what is the next thing that you want to do when you find one? Well, you want to put a box around it, right? And you want to put notes on it. Put a zone around it, okay? Put a zone around it. And label it, okay? These are really good practices that will keep you guys, it'll keep you in the zone, okay? All right, guys, our SPY's up 50%, so you might want to start locking in those profits. We'll see if we can drop below here. All right, put a zone around it and label it with what time frame you found it on. Okay, these are all good practices for the future. So I'm going to come up here and see, I picked one of my favorites right here, text. And if I want to, I could just put in here, this is the quarter. So QTR, you can make it big, small, whatever you feel like doing, whatever. All right. And the reason why I do this is because if I go to a different time frame, then I want to be able to see this and I want to understand where it's coming from, right? Because I may forget. It's okay if I forget. Sometimes I forget things. All right. All right. So we've established that. We've done everything we need to do. These are the first 3 steps on a major pullback. The next thing that I want to do, all right, and there's a lot of steps here, all right? I'm trying to go over these with you, and if for some reason any of my elite ambassador, members here see something that I forget, please say something, okay? But anyway, so we came down into the zone. Now I want to be understanding, well, how wide is the zone? What is my risk? How do I assess my risk? Am I looking to take a trade very long term? Or am I looking to take a trade just for a few minutes? Because all of these things matter, right? We're on an inside and up formation, and this is a quarterly formation. This could take ages before it actually works. You see what I mean? It really could. It could digest in this zone for a very long time. Now, if we pay attention, you can see here that price came into the zone and it worked very, very well the first time, the second time, and even the third time. But the fourth time, it kind of runs out of gas, right? It's just kind of hanging in the zone here. Okay? Just kind of hanging in the zone there. Why does it do that? I'm asking myself all of these questions, right? I don't need to be a super smart person to understand that demand kind of dried up. It's kind of like that bike that I just rode, right? There's other competition, there's other things out there, so people aren't in a rush to line up for this product, okay? Right? Things get old after a while. Trying to buy the same zone over and over gets old. It just wears out. It's not as shiny and brand new as it used to be. See? All right. So we understand that. That's what supply and demand is all about. Just always take your favorite product that you like and think about it. Has your product really sustained over this period of time, or does something always new and shiny come out? So this is the reason, why demand fails sometimes. Okay. I don't need I don't need fundamentals to tell me that. I don't need talking heads to tell me this. All I need is formations, and I need to look at the overall trend, and I see that we are in a downtrend, but I see that the demand level is still intact. The next thing we want to do is take some lines. I want to come just a little bit underneath there, okay? And if you have trading view, you just click on that line, hold down the control button, hold down your left mouse, and then you can duplicate. Very quick and easy, just like that, okay? That's right. It was not a fresh zone. It's been tested many times. Very key. So right here on number 4, okay, is the zone fresh? How do we assess that? We simply look at the zone and go, okay, well, it tested there, it tested there, it tested there, and now it's here. Is the zone fresh? You can grade a zone if you like. Now, I try to stay away from that. Okay, I really do. But I do encourage you as a brand new supply and demand trader to think about how can I how can I know if this zone is validated, if it's going to hold? What I can tell you is the more we test it, the weaker it gets. Okay? Just know that. So is the zone fresh? Count how many times it tested. Okay? Up to you how you want to grade that. Number 5, how wide is the zone? Well, that's something I always want to know. 83 by 55. Okay? So my risk right now is the idea here is if this zone breaks down below, if it breaks below here, this zone is no longer working. Does everybody understand that? That's just the idea of supply and demand zones. We break it, it's not working. As you can see many, many times, the zone is confirmed that it's working, right? It's working still. Okay. The question is, does it work on the first attempt? Does it work, down here towards the bottom of the box? In this case, like I said, many, many times, and then it comes down to the very bottom. It's okay. It's working. All right. So is the fresh zone, is this a fresh zone? Sorry. Is this zone fresh? Okay. Number 5. Now we have to figure out where could price potentially go? How do we figure that out? Right? How do we figure out where price can potentially go? We look up and to the left. Here at Trendy Trading, we look at our indicators, right? We look at the cloud, we look at the edges, and we understand that price can travel to those. And what those indicators do is they allow us to understand where price could go. See, when price bounced out of this inside and up, you will notice that it pushed up into the trendy indicator. We know here that that is now supply, it's underneath, or resistance, and you would expect price to stall there. So when price came down into this demand zone at 83 for a long-term position, because we are at and looking at a quarterly, we are looking for price to push all the way back up to 128. So do you think finding big zones can pay you big money? I would imagine they can. Okay. The issue is that 98% of traders, if not more, have a really hard time because we are programmed to want immediately. And so, I'm looking at a quarterly chart. Maybe it took 2 weeks for this thing to actually start moving. I don't know yet. Okay. So now, assess where price can go. How to do this? Look for inside and down formations. Okay. The cloud, EMA. Let's go ahead and put it on here. EMA cloud. Indicators. Okay. What else? Anything else that I'm missing, guys? You could look at your TTM squeeze maybe. That might help you. Okay. But for here, this is what I'm looking for. All right. So now let's find ourselves at inside and down formation. Now, according to the quarterly, the only inside and down formation that I'm seeing, there's actually a couple of them, is going to be right here. Okay. And it happens to be lined up, notice, with my indicators and the cloud, which is also my indicator. Okay. So settings, I'm going to put inside and down. And just for these purposes, I'm going to copy this and we are going to show you this inside and down formation here as well. That's going to be right here. All right. Everybody understand that? So let's go ahead and now put our targets just underneath here and just above here. And then we can go ahead and do this up here. And then we can go ahead and put one way up here. So these are actually two opposing zones using formations. And what's really interesting and what you should pay attention to here at Trendy Trading is that we already have indicators to allow us to understand where these are. What I'm showing you is kind of the my preference, if you are new at doing this, to understand how to find this. And then you start to get more comfortable and understand that the indicators are a convenience because when you become a trader and you're just wanting to trade, you want to cut back some of the time that you're using, right? Everybody understand this? You want to cut back some of the time that you're using. I don't have time to do this for every chart. I learned that really quickly. And that's why I took the time to study to figure out where these zones were. And then I wanted to pinpoint them. Okay. So that's what's going on there. I just want to make sure you understand that. Now, everybody is different. What do I mean by that? Well, we found our inside and downs. We found our inside and ups. Now, what do you guys think is the next step? Anybody want to take any guesses? Is Melissa the only one listening? There's got to be somebody else out there. I see a bunch of you guys in here. What is the next step? Okay. So establish your targets. Okay. Not yet, Three Dog Trader. Three Dog Trader says execute. Not yet. Okay. We'll get there. He's like, we're just going to execute, baby. By the way, guys, we added to our oil futures yesterday. Okay. So I'm going to, let's see, what is this going for? Give me 1 second. I'll let you guys know. I added to those butterflies. We'll see if I can get out for like 15 cents on the ones I added, which is 150 bucks a contract. Okay. All right. So we established targets. Okay. You can establish stops too. I love that. Okay. However, before I do all of this, Well, really, before we get into established stops, give me a second. We established targets, okay? So we know that these are targets. We have to establish, you have to ask yourself a question, okay? What is it? Exactly, Benji. How much time are you willing to be in this trade? Because that changes the dynamics, guys, all over the place. Okay. And while I was sitting here talking to you, I missed my trim for 50% on this SPY, which is not fair, but that happens sometimes. Okay. So that I can just kind of relax and not worry about it, I'm just gonna close there. Okay. That way I could just teach you guys. All right. But we have to establish the targets, but most importantly, we have to establish the time. So how much time? Establish the time. Okay. Now, how are we going to do that? Let me show you. Okay. This scenario right here are for the people out there who are listening to me who have patience. Okay. People that like to sell put credit spreads below demand levels for revenue stream, right? For income on a weekly basis. This is for people who understand that the inside and down is supply and they want to sell credit up there. These are the people that want to start a position in the demand zone for long term. So, again, let me just kind of give you a scenario. Baba here, if I have a fairly, small account and I'm trying to build value here, again, this is a hypothetical, then I could come in here and say, I want to 500 shares in my favorite names. Baba's one of my favorite names. I'm going to add 100 here. Okay, this is a scenario. If it comes back a little bit, say it pulls back into that trendy edge there, I'm going to add another 100. If we break and sustain above this line, I'm going to add another 100. Everybody has a different plan. My point is this is a quarterly chart and these zones do matter on smaller time frames. However, if you want to trade this blueprint, if you want to drive this car from here to here, you must have a different type of brain. If you are used to coming into the market and taking trades that last 5 minutes, and then you come in here and you want to try to take a big boy trade, it's probably not going to last for you. Okay. All of us can do better by learning how to stay in trades. And I always get the question, well, how do you trade these? I mean, at the end of the day, folks, you assess your risk, you understand what your risk is, you put your stop underneath the zone, and you ride this into the next zone. And then you start to trim or whatever your plan is. Okay. Again, the zones are bigger on higher time frames. Okay. So let's go to the next candle. That's going to be your monthly. Remember, I told you we got to talk about time in here. Okay. So let's talk about time. Notice how the picture becomes different. Now we can find an inside candle here on the monthly. And when I look up and to the left, I see an inside and down formation. Does everybody see that? So see, things start to get different. And what you can do is you can take this level here and you can bring this down to the inside and down formation. And what you have is another target. Okay. You have another target. And you can write right here as well if you feel like you really need to. So for example, we could say right here that this is a monthly inside and down. Okay. But this is also a target. And lucky you, I have these little templates. I can come in here and I can say target. Okay? Just like that. What is the next thing we're looking for? Well, up here at this cloud. Let's go ahead and take this cloud. I'm just going to come a little bit underneath it. That's my next target. All right. So now we have what we would consider a blueprint for somebody that doesn't have the patience of a quarterly trader, but somebody that's a little bit better. They're getting there and they're looking at the monthly. So how much time are you willing to be in this trade? Establish the time. How do we establish the time? You establish the time by, and really I should put this as a note here. You establish by doing what, guys? Decreasing the time. By decreasing the time frame. Okay? That's how we do this. Now, what about stops? Okay? What about stops? Right? We're just talking about supply and demand and the idea of this. I teach you guys with Fibonacci. We use our indicators. So all of that is up to you, but I teach you. It's a consistent way of doing whatever you want. I mean, you could come in here and say, hey, I'm going to measure from this pivot into this pivot. And as long as price stays above the 38.2, I'm okay with going long. I go long at 80 and my stop's below the 23.6 at 76, as long as I'm okay with that risk. Okay. So we talk about that a lot. All right, folks. Let's see here. Did I? No. Sorry. I'm trying to. There we go. I want to make sure that I have my my trim in for the futures on oil. We're getting a nice little push there. All right. So this is the monthly. You guys can get it, right? From here, now what we're going to do is go into the weekly. So how do we do this from a weekly? Then you find it the same way. So this exact way of finding demand zones and supply zones, you can apply this, okay, to, I would say, anywhere from 30 minutes all the way down to, or all the way up to quarterly. Once we start dropping below 30 minutes, let's just be real. The idea of supply and demand is to be on the institutional side, to be trading with institutions. Okay. And, you know, anything under 30 minutes, that's pretty much just like day traders messing around. You still get the same formations. The formations can still work. Okay. They can still work, but it's a different concept. I want you just to think, hey, I'm trading formations and Fibonacci and trend. Okay. What I'm teaching you is to look for the bigger zones. Okay. On the higher time frames where the bigger money is hanging out. Okay. That's what we're trying to do when we look at the bigger time frames. All right. All right. So we come down here, we can go into the daily. Like I said, it starts to look different. Everybody's different, folks. I come up here, okay, and I start to think, hey, Baba's really bullish. You know, I can tell that there's a zone up here from 82 into 86. We're extended, sure. All right. But if it holds my trendy edge here at 79.45, I'm looking for a move into 82 by 80, 85. Everything is different. And then we get all the way down here to the 5 minute. And then what do? We start trading the PMZ. We're not going to go into that. What I want to do is just show you how powerful the PMZ is right now. But I also want to show you what is important every morning you wake up or on the weekends when you're trying to figure out how to identify zones. This is how we do it. Okay. Now, there's something that's really important about this. Okay. Now, we're going to get in here and let's go back to the quarterly. Okay. So back to, we pull back, go to your quarterly chart. What am I looking for? Demand, inside and up formations. Now, what are the best inside and up formations? Put a zone around it and label it with a time frame. Is the zone fresh? Count how many times it's been tested. Next, how powerful is the zone? How can we tell, folks? How can we tell? Chaotic candle. That's right, Bucky. You can call it chaotic candle. You can call it a Viagra candle. You can call it a big candle. But what we're looking for are big explosive moves out of the zone. Okay? And I feel when I show you this, it's pretty straightforward. Okay? Let me give you an example. I'm going to put a box around these, and I'm going to do different colors. This is a zone. That's a green box. Okay? This is a zone, and this is the aftermath. Okay? This is actually right here. This right here is a zone, and that is the aftermath. Okay? Which one of these zones looks the most powerful? Which one? Is it the green one, the yellow one, or the blue one? That's right, guys. It's the yellow one. Now, you might have been confused and wanted to sit back and like not say anything right at first. And I get why, because you might be thinking, well, it came in here though. So the green one's more powerful. Here's a trick. When you have two inside and ups that are right on top of each other, you can combine the zones. Okay? You could come over here and you can make this zone all the way up here. You could put another line all the way up here and all the way down here. Now, what that does is it creates a very wide zone, right? Very, very wide zone. That's the issue. Super wide. Okay. But you can still put it on there for education purposes, and while you're learning, you can still put it there and understand. And we have a way that we trade around that. We know that, right? Here at Trendy, we know that if price comes into a zone, we have steps that we take. We don't automatically just take a trade. Okay. All right. So that's a way we want to do. We want to establish whether or not it's a powerful zone or not. Okay. Basically, you look for the explosive moves out. Okay. The moves like this, folks, do you see this? So this is an inside and out formation. See how it's not very strong? Okay. So it's not very strong yet. So notice when price runs out of buyers, it then pulls back. And notice how these zones don't do anything. Do you guys see that? They just get cut through like butter. But notice when price comes down into and starts to get into this zone, sorry, the arrow is wrong. It actually pops. And to a beginner trader, when you're looking at this, okay, you don't actually understand that it actually popped big time. Okay. When price left here, watch my cursor here, and then it comes down and we hit here. Look how high this went up. So see, you might have missed that. I won't miss that. This zone worked really, really well, guys. And you said, hey, the yellow box was the most powerful. And you're right. When price came down and tested this zone, folks, it almost came to the tick. It actually did around 108.77, and it popped into 181, 182. That's a nice gain, isn't it? Pretty sweet. Okay. Pretty sweet gain there just by using formations. Okay. All right. So we established targets. How much time are you willing to be in this trade? Establish the time you establish by decreasing the time frame. Okay. Once you've done all this, now you must pick whether or not you want to do an equity trade. Do you want to do options? Like, what is it that you want to do? Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do, folks. I'm just showing you some technicals that really help out on trying to be more consistent in your trading. But what you can do is assess by looking at ATR, average true range, average trading range. And what that does is it gives you a right? A snapshot of how much BABA can move in a month. And again, I'm just using hypotheticals here. So if we bought this zone and we got in at the bottom of the zone because we noticed it got tested several times, which we did, by the way. Congratulations for those who took the BABA trade. If you took this trade, you have to assess how much time would it take me. So before you execute Three Dog Trader, and you got all this stuff together, and you look up there and you go, man, Baba for 1 week, guys, for 1 week, and again, these are hypothetical numbers, Baba can move $22 a week. We look at the week, it's Monday, the thing's hardly even moved, it came right into a demand zone. Our first target happens to be $10 up. I like that. Not only do I think I can hit $10, but I think we might actually hit 22. And I like the fact that we're in a demand zone. Guess what? This is where you can make some good money, right? Now, do you buy $22 out of the money? Answer's no, right? Unless you're, just into lottos and you just want to take like a lotto. You should do that. Okay. Some people will. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'll tell you that if you get closer to at the money, it's not as attractive sometimes on the percentage. Not always. Not always. Sometimes it's very attractive depending on what kind of move you get. The problem is that a lot of traders who come here or who I've met, and including myself in the past, they're more attracted to the idea of the percentage gain, you know, and they're like, man, if I buy these for 10 cents way out of the money and they go to $10, not only will I make some good money, but I can go on Twitter and, shout out to myself and feel better about myself. But really, at the end of the day, at the monies, collecting the delta and getting that kind of move, you'll actually do really, really well. All right. So you buy a $2 option and it goes to 7, you made 500 bucks. And a lot of times people buying the smaller options, they're not going in very big, right? So the percentage looks cool, but they're not actually, doing anything spectacular there. Okay. So like, yeah, man, I made 500%, I made $100. Whereas the person that went at the money or just barely out of the money, ends up making a lot more. Okay. A little bit more serious trade. But again, up to you how you want to approach that. So we assess by looking at the ATR, right? That's how we look at the trade. That's how we figure out how much time we want. And then we have to take consideration of how big the demand zone is, right? So for example, I assess this, I like BABA, it's holding the zone, but now I must say to myself, but we haven't moved out of the zone. Matter of fact, what was support now looks like resistance. You see what I mean? So look, this was support, this was support, this was support. It is now resistance. So do you want to buy up here, high on the curve? No, you want it to buy down here. So you must wait. You must be a patient trader, and that's when we start to go into smaller time frames. And we start to assess from here. Like, hey, this might actually close inside this month, and if it goes inside and up next month, I'll trade it to the upside. Or, hey, I like it on the weekly, but there's an inside and down here. I don't want to get long into a supply zone. On the daily, it's gapped up. It looks pretty extended. It's almost into a supply zone on the weekly. I'm not interested right now. Okay. So after we do all that, once again, you establish your time frame, then you also need to know what you're willing to risk. Every trader is different, okay? Every trader is different. Everybody. So if you're willing to lose 500 bucks, then what do? Well, there you I feel like you have a couple different options here. You can buy hypothetical two options that cost 250 bucks. You spend $500 and you could say to yourself, I'm okay if they go to zero. You're buying in a quarterly zone, you're buying tons of time, and that way you don't stress yourself out with a stop, and you know that your threshold for any trade that you take is that you're willing to be okay with a $500 loss. So if you bought two contracts for $2.50, guess what? You're good to go, right? You're going to lose $500. Do you guys understand that? So as a moderator and as a coach and a mentor, the best thing that I could tell you is that everybody is different. So we get a lot of pressure because we trade in front of you and we want to be good mentors, and a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't like let your stuff go to zero, and I absolutely believe in that, but there will be times that we let things go to zero. But don't forget about this conversation. It's only okay with me if I let something go to zero. It may not be okay with you. Again, you need to assess, what is your number? When I say what is your number, when I attended school and I learned about like basically some standard rules. It was like, hey, I never want to have more than 2% of my account in any option. And at any given time, I didn't want to have more than a total of 5%. Okay. Those can be rules. It's up to you how you want to assess that. That means if I was net long in the market crash right now, I would lose 5% of my account. Okay. And I'd only have 95% of my net liquidity tomorrow. Those percentages might not make sense to you. Okay. Everybody's different. My biggest thing is every time you take a trade and you're on an intraday trade, like you're trading intraday, you can manage that risk really, really well, folks. You really can. Okay. Because you're not taking it home at night. So don't be afraid. All right. We find a lot of people in this boat, including myself in the past, is that you're willing to lose 500. You don't have to only take a $500 trade. I could take a $2,000 trade and manage that trade today and make sure that I only lose $500. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that? Because you're managing that trade today. Okay? Now, if you say that you're okay with a $500 loss and you take BABA or XYZ and you paid $2,000 for it and you go home tonight with a $2,000 position, how are you going to manage that loss when you wake up in the morning and you bought calls and the market gaps down off of some kind of Chinese catalyst that says, you know, the market's doomed? How do you do that? Anybody? Is there any way that you can manage that? Yeah, it's going back to the 30-minute zone, DC. All right. So you can't manage it unless you're a futures trader. If you're a futures trader, then you can actually put on a hedge, right? You can put on a hedge. Okay. So remember this, when you go home at night, it's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. But if you think you're okay with a $500 loss, but you wake up tomorrow and you're down 2 grand, you're going to be really pissed off at yourself. You're not going to be able to function. You're not going to be able to trade the way that we need you to show up and trade. So you need to have rules. You could put on a $2,000 position today, but by the end of the day, you might want to cut it to where you're at a comfortable allocation when you go home at night. Okay. And that's right. Those SPY puts that I alerted to you guys are up 500%. Okay. Benji says you don't look at them. Yeah, well, that's one way to get over your losses. Just don't look at them. Okay. Yeah, that's the easiest way, right? Just pretend they're not there. That might help. I love it. All right. So again, just to reiterate, guys, figure out what you're willing to take home at night. Okay. This market in general, people are having a hard time. I feel like if you're in trendy trading, and from what I can read, you guys are doing just fine. Not everybody's saying that, of course. Some people are quiet. But I think for the most part, we are reading the market very, very well. Am I right? Am I right? Are we not reading the market well? If you're in here and you were to tell me we're not reading the market well, I would be absolutely shocked. Okay? Absolutely shocked. Now, that doesn't mean just because we read the market well and we try to coach the best we can, that doesn't mean that you're going to have a good day, because the problem is what's between your ears. And I know, because I've been doing this for a very long time, is that many of you, even though you may be here and you may be a member and you still listen to me, you're still going to let outside influences affect you. And the only thing that I can tell you is it takes time in the seat to actually mature to where you don't let those things affect you anymore. Okay? You don't need a lot of people telling you what's going to happen in the market. If you're a new trader and you're trying to learn, what you need to do is pay attention, right, to the charts and the technicals. Let go of the noise. Okay? Let go of the noise. How did I know that the market was about to pull back? How did I know that? Do you guys know? Here, I'll show you everything that I was just showing you guys. Okay? Same exact thing. I'm going to show you. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up our. Okay, right here. Okay, so this is an example of what I mean. So Bucky, you gave that news catalyst right there. Okay, Russian missile falling in Poland, right? Is the reason why the market's moving, correct? But why is it that we put out SPY puts that are now up almost 1,000%? Okay, before we knew the news was coming out. How? This is something that I will tell you that many, many traders have a hard time understanding, especially people who have been in the market forever. They just have this big ego and they just can't let go of news. No, 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 no. This is the reason, right? It's whatever makes you feel good when you go home at night, to be honest with you. But there's one thing that stands true. Over here on the 30-minute chart, folks, okay, I'm going to bring you to it here in a second. The reason why I went short was because this right here. We went inside and down this morning on the 30-minute chart right here. We could not build value above the 30-minute. We could not get above the PMZ. We have to then look down and to the left, and guess what we have, folks? An inside and up formation. Boom, boom. Inside and down to inside and up. Now what do you do here? This is the hard part. This is where reading the market, okay? This is where reading the market is, I think, the most important, okay? And let me see if I got some of my oil sold yet. Nope, not yet. Go oil. Go, baby. What do we do? Somebody tell me. Let's see if you guys can get the bonus. I need to know that you can think this way because really, this is a true, to me, this is what really separates you from the rest. When the market pulls back into this demand zone, what should you be thinking right away? All right, cool. You can go long. However, there's something else. Nah, I don't want you to think too much, guys. I don't know. I don't want you to wait for an inside and up. We don't have to wait for an inside and up. What I need you guys to do is I want you to hurry up and take Fibonacci's. Okay. Oop. We just got filled on the oil futures that I added yesterday. Let me go ahead and give me 1 second. All right. So, what am I thinking? I threw Fibonacci's on here. I'm trying to lead you guys. What am I thinking on this? It's everything that I just went over with you. Do you see what I'm saying? It's everything that I just went over with you right here. If I were to go long in here, I have to assess all of this. The 23 and the 38 are very important. If the market cannot sustain bids above the 23 and 38, guess what? It's in a bearish zone. Okay? Next thing I want you to do, if none of this is working, and then we come over, we have to look through all the time frames that I already have given you over the weekend. Okay? Boom. Right back into the support zone of the 4 hour. How many times has support been tested, folks? One, one, two, three, four, five. There's a possibility we go back down to 39.48 and then finally get to 39.25. Okay? Possibility. Before the bounce. The bounce. Do we get over 23 and 38? Matter of fact, what you want to be trying to do is actually buy the puts on the bounce for down here. And by the way, folks, once again, just to remind you, those puts now are almost up 1,000%. Absolutely insane. And I decided to teach right in between this. That's crazy. Okay. It's crazy. Oh, the timing. The timing. Right? It's all good. All right. All right. Then we want to go over to the daily. Just assess. Look at all this stuff. Okay. What's going on? We at the top. We hit the next EMA. It was a resistance until proven otherwise. From a weekly standpoint, okay, I want to measure from this pivot low into this pivot high. If we break down below 39.28, we start a new cycle, most likely to the downside for a couple days. Okay. So we'll see if that happens. Anyways, I don't know about you guys, but I'm positive for the day. It's been a great day. I think that that lesson that I just taught you is really, really good. I've never really broken it down and written stuff out for you like that. I mean, I do have a lot of education stuff, so I'm sure I did, and I probably forgot. But it's been a long time. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, I'm streaming on YouTube as well, so if for some reason you guys didn't hear me, it'll be recorded. So I'm about to hit the stop streaming, and it should be out there. So if you guys need to see it, it'd be like